We're going to take a look at the Fusion event calendar in this week's weekly video update. This is part 1. This is This Week in Raid. What's up, guys? Finally, he sleeps here. We're back with another episode of This Week in Raid. The Fusion event is running, the Incarnate, and the sentiments across the community is it's a skippable fusion. And I get it. It's she's not bringing a whole lot to the table. But I mean, I do all the fusions, so we'll definitely complete this. If you are going in on the Incarnate, the calendar is a bit different. The extra fragments that you need to claim these 4 epics that are part of it, Stripe Hide, there is usually, you can skip some events or something here and there if you've kind of made it up with it, because there's some tournament wins or that kind of stuff. There are no tournament win bonuses in this fusion. Instead, they've added a summon rush just a few days after, actually it's 1 day after the summon rush ends. There is a bonus summon rush which will give you 50 fragments if you complete it. We don't know how far you have to go through that summon rush to get the 50, how difficult that's going to be, but basically the extra points are coming from summon rush. So this thing is going to be a shard suck. Resources and shard suck. Looking at the rest of the calendar, though, you've got a couple of classic arenas, which are usually pretty easy. There's 2 champion training, 1 event, 1 tournament. They both give out 25 fragments. We've got 3 artifact enhancements and 3 dungeon divers. So it's standard for what we've seen with everything else, except, you know, all of the crap that you're dealing with, that extra summon rush. This is a hybrid fusion, which means you have fragments to claim the epics, and then you have to fully train and book out the epics to make it there. So the best advice is don't claim any of these epics yet. Hold the epics until Champion Chase is released next Friday. Then claim the epics that you have. Use the fusion to claim the epics that you have. That'll give you, at that point, you should have 3, at least 2, maybe 3, depending upon how far you've completed the other stuff. Fragment buys 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 2, 2.5 for Champion Chase. You might be able to, actually, you probably could get the 4th one in before Champion Chase is done. And that would be 4 epics directly towards Champion Chase. And then Champion Training Event, which is the second of the Champion Training things, which is the event version, you can use that to build your epics to fuse into the Incarnate. That's really the only positive that we see out of here. Again, you're going to stack your stuff, you know, use your dungeon events to work on dungeon divers. You may have to hold a little bit, like dungeon divers and Fire Knight opened at the same time. There'll be an overlap for Ice Golem. The money you earn from dungeon diving and Fire Knight and Ice Golem, you can go into Artifact Enhancement 1. And then we have Ice Golem overlaps the second Dungeon Divers. So if you've completed the Dungeon Divers 1, don't piss away your Ice Golem until Dungeon Divers 2 starts. And then Dragon overlaps Dungeon Divers 2, but again, it overlaps Dungeon Divers 3. So once Dungeon Divers 2 is done, don't move on to Dungeon Divers 3 with Dragon. You know, don't keep going Dragon to finish it out until Dungeon Divers 3 unlocks. And then Spider will help you finish out Dungeon Divers 3, and that's where a lot of the coins are going to come from for Artifact Enhancement 3, as well as Champion Training Event. So all of this comes down to stacking what you're doing, and you just need enough gems and energy to get you through it. If you've been hoarding energy, you're in good shape. If you've been hoarding gems to use for energy, you're in fine shape. As far as potions go, you're going to need arcanes and you're going to need void. Those are the only two, because we have 4 void epics that have to be taken to level 50 maxed out to be part of the fusion for the incarnate. And because this is an actual fusion, it will only be around for a certain amount of time, and then we'll have to fuse it. We just finished clan versus clan, so we will have the second clan versus clan towards the end of this, and if that one has personal rewards, you might be able to stack a lot of this in there with that clan versus clan. And if you're lucky enough, you could probably claim the incarnate at that time for a bunch of added bonus for clan versus clan if it has personal rewards. That's the big if, though, if there is personal rewards. As far as whether or not this is a fusion to go after, it's completely up to you. There is a lot of talk about how it's a skippable fusion, and if you're light on resources and you generally don't do all of the fusions, then I would say this is a skippable one. But if you run the 2 and 2 method of free to play for fusions, there's no reason not to do a fusion. Every fusion is doable, and we've seen this before where we've had fusions that were skippable, but the champion was pulled out of the vault later because of something else, and it's like, oh, I never claimed that one, I wish I had. That's why I always do the fusions. They're all free to play as long as you stack resources on the 2x2 method. 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off, and you're good to go, and you should be fine. That's it for part 1 of this week's weekly video update. This week in Raid. Part 2 is 3 will be FC Mobile. Thanks a lot for hanging out, guys. I appreciate you. Thanks a lot for helping the Raid channel get to where it is. We are close to reaching our goals. August 17th is the date. That is the date we need to have the Raid channel at its subscriber goal, and that is where we're pushing for. So thanks a lot for all of your help getting us there. As long as you guys keep showing up, I'll keep making videos. Still, Jesus, yeah, again. Every time. See, if I was smart, I've got 2 more videos to make for FC Mobile. If I was smart, I would fix this for the next 2, but I probably won't.